School safety starts long before the first bell rings. Today we're talking keeping our kids safe inside the classroom, LCPD's SROs, and our partnership with the Las Cruces Public School District. Bridging the Badge starts right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to this month's segment for Bridging the Badge. We thought it would be the perfect fit to talk back to school. We're so happy to have Las Cruces Public School Superintendent Ignacio Ruiz here with us today. We invited you because we value our partnership with your district so much. We have our Sergeant of our School Resource Officers, Jesse Gonzalez, also joining us for this very important conversation. I'm a parent myself, so I know just how important it is to be transparent with the community about what's happening behind the scenes to keep our students safe, just because it matters so much, and the work that you guys do on the back end is also very important and a very important conversation to have. Nonetheless, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity, and it's great that you're one of our parents as well.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Super great experience. I wanted to talk a little bit about everything today when it comes to school safety.
Right.
Let's start with the first question I have, which is, what do you want parents to know just right off the bat about just how important school safety is for you guys?
Absolutely. You know, we understand the trust that our parents place in us, right, in sending their children, their kiddos every day to every one of our over 40 schools that we have, and really want our parents to understand that safety is foundational. It's foundational to our district. We want to make sure that our kids feel safe, that they feel that they belong, and they can trust adults as well, and just very confident in our systems. But more than anything else, are the people behind our systems, our principals, our teachers, our counselors, our SROs, and so knowing that as a parent myself, right, that they're sending their kiddos to our schools, and that we have a good system in place, and again, that we understand the trust they place in us.
Yeah, Sergeant Gonzalez, let's bring you into the conversation here. So when it comes to school resource officers, how many are within the unit within LCPD?
Currently we have 10 school resource officers. We got 4 at the major high schools, and we got 6 middle school resource officers.
Okay, let's talk about the unit and just the importance of it.
Yeah, so it's just like Superintendent Ruiz had said, we try to build relationships with all the students. We communicate constantly with the school districts, with the school admin. We just keep an open line of communication. We want to make sure that the kids know that they can come to us with anything. So we're in passing periods, we're out there talking with the kids. So it's not always like an emergency response or an issue. Like we want to build positive relationships with the kids.
Absolutely. What would you guys say are some of the things that happen behind the scenes to make sure you guys are prepared for really any situation?
Yeah, and I can start there. You know, it's really the relationship piece between LCPS and LCPD that is so important. We want to make sure that we have a strong relationship, that we know each other's roles, that we understand that, right? That we're not establishing that relationship when there's a crisis or an emergency at that point, right? And so it's that preparedness that goes into that, and you know, that relationship piece as well, that's happening behind the scenes, not only with us but also with our community. Our SROs become a part of our communities. They're at events. They're that trusted adult. They're that mentor also. So their role goes beyond just their presence as a law enforcement officer, which is very important. But those other pieces that I just mentioned that are also so important in the prevention, because that is our goal. It's prevention more than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about upgrades to schools. I know that there's been quite several. Can you touch on that?
Sure. You know, some of the upgrades, as a matter of fact, right now we're working on more cameras, right? The weapon detection systems. We've invested in vestibules in our elementaries. But, you know, safety goes, as I mentioned, goes beyond just the equipment piece of that. It's really, again, what's happening with the prevention, with preparedness, and the relationship piece. That is, when you have a strong safety system or environment, those are three key pieces that go into that protocol.
Sergeant Gonzalez, let's touch on that a little bit and how those extra measures have helped you guys do your jobs better too.
Yeah, with the weapons detection system, for instance, like every kid has to walk through that right before school starts, so that's another safety measure for us. Our officers are standing out front of the school greeting the kids as they walk in as well. Extra measures, when there's school breaks, we're in training trying to prepare for anything that may happen at the school as well. So we're also walking through every one of our schools, all 10 that we cover, so if one officer responds to a different school, they're not completely lost when they get there. So we know each other's campuses as well.
As a school resource officer, looking back to last year, I guess what were some of the big things that you were noticing when it comes to juveniles within schools? Could vaping be one of those?
Yeah, so vaping has been a little bit of an issue for us. We do see a lot of vaping. Last year, it became also alcohol, the kids bringing alcohol onto campus. It was more vaping and alcohol more than anything else is what we really saw.
Okay. And then you knowing that information, I guess, tying that all together,
Right.
what is being done to help address those issues?
Well, one of the things that we're looking at is our data.
Yeah.
Really looking closely at our data. What we have seen since we've incorporated things such as a weapon detection system, we've seen our vapes, weapons with regards to knives, things like that, have drastically reduced by probably over 80%. So it has had a positive impact around that. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that, again, that the equipment is working properly. But I just have to keep focusing on this or prioritizing this is that relationship piece, that prevention. So when kiddos have a trusted adult that they can talk to at the school when they see something that's not right, that's the prevention piece. Also, we talk about our parents. Our parents and our students are key partners in this, and say something if you see something. And encourage our parents also to be active, with their kiddos, especially the social media, those type of things that we deal with on a daily basis as well.
As a parent of two kiddos in elementary school, I just wanted to ask, why is there not an SRO in an elementary school?
Great question. One of the things that we're doing with our elementaries, I mentioned earlier, we invested in our vestibules. So, that barrier from the outside to the inside of our school. So that was a big investment that we had across the district. We're working with our security officers on ensuring that we have solid systems within, because again, that is the biggest piece to this, and ensuring that we have a safe environment in our elementaries. I've been meeting with our security officer teams at the elementary, and having that collaboration of what are the things that they need also to be supported to ensure that we have that. Our SROs also, as our officer mentioned here, is that they know everyone's schools, and they're also ready to respond to our elementaries if there's any type of emergency situation. But I feel very confident that our elementaries are a safe environment, and we've had some really great investments there, and we're looking at any other investments as well.
Did you want to touch on or add anything to that?
Yeah, as far as the elementary school goes, we do have middle schools and high schools that are close in proximity to these elementary schools. So like Mr. Ruiz said, the SROs are still helping out at those elementary schools. Another big thing is we're bringing back the D.A.R.E program, and as we grow that, we're have an officer inside the school just to grow a relationship with elementary schools as well. I teach D.A.R.E at one of the local elementary schools, so if they have an issue, they know they can call me, and I'll be right there to help them out.
I think that's so wonderful to touch on. I know the D.A.R.E curriculum has changed, but I've been in the classroom with you guys when you guys are teaching it, and the response from the kids is wonderful. So
absolutely, and Officer Gonzalez hit on that. And that's an important piece. Again, that goes back to the prevention, to the education, to ensure that our kiddos understand the importance of what it means to be a good citizen and what it means to be on time and those type of things. So definitely agree with Officer Gonzalez, a key piece to that as well.
Absolutely. And even though we're dealing with juveniles here within the schools, did you want to touch anything on accountability when it comes to maybe taking something to school that isn't supposed to be at school? Absolutely.
That's something, accountability is, we're not going to shy away from that. Again, we have to take every threat serious, whether, it's a joke and it wasn't meant to happen, or for someone not to follow through. We have to investigate every threat. We have to ensure that we're ready for every threat. And then just really the message to our kids and also our parents that something like that has some serious consequences. So we owe it to our community, as I mentioned earlier, that we take every threat serious, and that's where the partnership with LCPD comes in. We immediately collaborate and we investigate and ensure that's unsubstantiated.
Yeah, it really is a partnership that we value between the two of us. You hit the nail on the head, threats. That was my next topic that I want to talk about. What happens the moment a threat is reported?
Well, and obviously Officer Gonzalez can speak even more around this, but we take it very serious, and then absolutely immediately that collaboration, that communication between us, LCPD, our security team, to ensure that we are investigating and getting facts. I mean, really, it's gathering the facts, and Officer Gonzalez may want to add to that as well.
Well, yes, sir. Just how you said, Mr. Ruiz, it's basically gathering facts. So as soon as it gets reported to us, we find out where it came from, who possibly reported it, who may have witnessed this threat. We talk to everybody that has any kind of information about it, because we don't take threats lightly at all. And it's not just the school resource officers that are involved, because sometimes these will come in after school hours, so patrol will help out. I do get assistance from federal agencies as well that can help us out with threats as well. So these are taken very seriously, and once we find out the nature of the threat, if it's unsubstantiated, then we let everybody know that it is. Luckily, we haven't had any substantiated threat. And then if we do find the kid that made the threat, whether it's a joke or not, they do face criminal consequences for it.
Yeah, and something to add to that is communication as well. Is ensuring, as we gather facts, to ensure that we're also getting the right information to our community, to our parents, right? Our parents, as soon as, with social media as it is now, it gets out there even before, sometimes even that we find out about it. But communication is a very key component. And what I'll say to that is that, for our parents to also understand, sometimes it may take a little bit longer, because we're wanting to make sure that we have the facts and we understand exactly what it is that's happening or it isn't happening, so that we get the right information to our parents. And then also encouraging them, as a parent myself, your first instinct is to go to the campus, right, and get there as soon as possible. But sometimes that can create some challenges for our first responders if there's too much traffic or impeding with our first responders. So, knowing that they understand that the communication will be coming from us, and to really depend on that more than anything else.
Yeah. And to also know that there is a plan in place.
Absolutely.
But then also balancing keeping people informed without creating panic is something that you guys, of course, want to do. Right,
exactly. Yeah, that's the last thing we want to do is cause panic. And again, get facts out there to ensure that our parents understand what exactly is happening, and we're prepared for any scenario.
Question that I'm sure all parents have: if their child were to come home and let them know that they heard about a threat and they were informed, what would you want the parent to do? Do you want them to file a report, reach out to the teacher?
Right away to reach out to administration.
Okay.
School administration immediately. There's also in our website, it's available really everywhere. On our social media, we have a Stop It app. And that Stop It is confidential reporting as well, that we encourage our kids and our parents to also report there. So we offer different avenues to be able to do that, but really what we ask is to report that immediately.
Okay. And then what do you guys want to say to students who think that making a threat is a joke?
Well, I think, as I mentioned earlier, it's we take every threat serious, and whether even if you did not intend to follow through, there's serious consequences and accountability, and words can have power, right? And we have to investigate every single threat that is out there.
Did you want to add to that?
No, just like he said, making a threat's not a joke. So we're going to take it very seriously, and there are going to be criminal consequences to whoever does make that threat.
Mm-hmm. And you guys also communicate a lot through Parent Square. Mm-hmm. That's an important app that you're going to want your students' parents to download, correct?
Yes, very, very important, because that is another key piece of communication that we have. And if anything, that's where our parents would get that information that they need. Whether it's I know a lot of parents don't enjoy this, the lightning protocol.
I know, yes.
Right, but again, that is our avenue to ensure that we're also keeping our parents informed. And what I'll say to that is ensure to our parents that they also update their contact information, because many times we're reaching out and it's not current contact information, and we want to make sure that we have all of that current in our records.
If you're looking to download Parent Score, you can do that on Apple Play or the Google Store, whether you have an iPhone or an Android. Moving on to emergency preparedness, you guys train a lot to prepare for situations that we hope never come. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so like I was mentioning earlier, during the summer breaks is actually when we do a lot of training. So we don't take the summers off. I get with our academy coordinators. They put us through several hours of training, whether it's how to clear a building right, active shooter response, going to the range, different things like that. We're just making sure that we're staying up to date on the most current practices and how we can best effectively respond to any emergency situation.
And in addition to that, as a district, we also work with our principals, with our school administration, as well as our central administration. For example, this summer, we did several what we call tabletop scenarios, right? And ensuring that our administrators and our team is prepared. We also have several collaborations throughout the year with our first responders across the county, not just LCPD, but the fire department, sheriffs, DPS, et cetera. And we just stay current also what's happening across the country. How are we dealing with situations? So definitely, to Officer Gonzalez's point, we are constantly, being preparing for this, because safety, you're never there, right? You're always preparing, you're always analyzing and ensuring that, that we're considering every angle.
Okay. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to add specifically on emergency preparedness? Any drills, anything like that?
Well, I think, again, it goes back to just being prepared and those real-time scenarios. We also do, lockdown drills at our schools. And now, at the end of the day, we don't want our schools to be fortresses, but we also want to ensure that our schools are safe and that our students feel safe and that our parents feel confident in every time that child goes through that, right, gets on the bus, gets dropped off, that they're going to be in a safe environment.
Absolutely. Sergeant Gonzalez, let's talk about what an average day looks like for an SRO. I know that can be very different on a day-to-day basis, but what would you want parents to know about your guys' job?
Well, it's not necessarily average, like you said. So the SRO will show up on campus. He'll probably check in with admin, make sure that they know he's there, greet the students as they're walking in, be there for them during passing period, because that's where you build a lot of relationships. The kids are walking the halls, officers like maybe shaking their hands, asking them how their day's going. We'll respond to any possible safety concern or maybe any issue that may arise with the student, and just try to build relationships with the staff, the kids, anything like that. Kind of walking around the campus, make sure everything is going well throughout the day. So.
I just want to add, Sergeant Gonzalez is also being a little modest. Our SROs are awesome. They do some great things with our kids. Not just that relationship building, but just the being a part of the community. Sometimes they're after school with clubs, just different things that our kids can see them again as an adult that they can trust. And what we really want is our kids' first experience with an officer is not during a crisis, but more in that relationship building piece.
Okay. I want to talk about some of the things that we see circulating on social media, and one of those things that I see quite often myself is fights. Is that something that we're dealing with a lot in the middle school and high school level, and what is being done to help prevent that and hold these students accountable?
As far as a lot of fights, I don't know what you classify as a lot. We do have fights on campus, but that's a lot of times it might be at lunch, and our officers are out there at lunch talking with the kids, walking around, making sure they're seen. So it's more about, making a presence and kind of trying to deter that. And that's another reason why we try to get the officers to make relationships with these kids. So if they do have an issue with another student, they can come to us with an issue where we can try to remedy that before a fight occurs.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, visibility is very important to Sergeant Gonzalez's point. And so ensuring that our administrators are visible, our security officers. We just currently hired temp officers to man our weapon detection system so that our on-campus security officers are not just there in one spot, that visibility. And a lot of this also happens off campus. We see a lot of off-campus type of activity around that. Our data shows also middle school. Middle school is an area that we need to focus in on, where we're seeing a lot of our discipline challenges are in middle school. So that's something this next school year, we are definitely focusing in on.
Okay. And I think just circling back to opening up the conversation at home, talking with your kids, asking them about their day,
Right.
if they're having any issues, if an issue does arise, to let a
Absolutely.
parent know, a trusted source know, so that way they can see if anyone can help them with that.
Right, and what we tend to see, parents are very active with that, with elementary kiddos. As they grow right in middle and high school, it becomes less and less. So really, to your point, encouraging our parents to be active and to sit with them and just to be active in their lives, especially in their online lives as well.
And those temp officers you said that are going to be manning the security systems,
Right.
I think that's a great addition to
Yes.
free up extra hands to walk around the school, to
Right.
communicate with students, be an extra presence. I think that will help a lot.
Absolutely, and a lot of these folks are also former law enforcement, et cetera. So it just adds another layer to that systemic piece that we want to make sure that is strong safety-wise on our campuses.
Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about when it comes to safety measures, security measures within the schools?
I think we've hit a lot of those pieces. Again, I appreciate our community support when we go out for things such as bonds, right? Our latest bond, which strengthens that security. When we have our budget surveys to ensure that we're also prioritizing what the community wants to ensure that we are also prioritizing, and safety is always at the top. And to just let the community know that we hear them and that we definitely prioritize that, and that's something that is very important. Again, as I mentioned, that's foundational. Safety is foundational for our kids.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, just like we've already talked about, we're always preparing, we're always doing our best to make sure that we're up to date on the best practices for school safety. And the safety of the kiddos is our number one priority.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for talking with us.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes.
We're not done quite yet because I wanted to end with something on a lighter note, ask
Yes.
some fun questions.
Yes.
So I want to know about you guys. What was your favorite thing about your first day of school?
If you don't mind, my favorite thing was always eating that, this is going to sound funny, but eating that honey bun in my elementary that they sold at the snack bar. That was I looked
Yeah.
forward to that. But really more than anything else, probably just meeting my teacher and or my new teacher.
I say my first day of school, I always try to look my best, so I always had a new outfit on, so that's what I was always looking forward to.
Favorite school lunch?
Well, besides the honey bun, I think it was the hamburger, just that plain hamburger
Yeah.
that I still remember. So that was probably my favorite.
Mine has to be the school pizza.
Mine too. That's exactly what I was going to say. Never forget that.
Right.
All right. Let's end with this question. Teacher that made the biggest impact that still has an impact on you today?
I think the one that kind of I still remember today is my 5th grade teacher. Her name was Mrs. Brooks. I went to elementary school in Clovis, New Mexico, and she was probably my favorite teacher. She had the biggest impact. She was always positive with me, and I'll always remember her.
For me, it was my social studies teacher in middle school. I think it was in 6th grade, Mr. Barai, Alex Barai. He was probably the first one where I realize how education was that great equalizer, and that how we have opportunity gaps, and so I still remember just stopping class and just having that conversation, or just hanging out with them after school or during lunch and having those conversations. So I would have to say Mr. Barai.
Perfect. To tie this conversation all together and bring it to an end, I just want to ask you guys one more question. If every parent watching today remembers one thing about school safety within Las Cruces Public Schools and our collaboration with LCPD, what would you want it to be?
Well, I think, again, going back to, we understand their trust in us, and we are continuously ensuring that we are taking everything into consideration, strengthening our systems. But again, that partnership, that's so important. We need them to be a partner with us in this piece. And again, just that they come and that they collaborate, that they're engaged in their child's education.
I would agree. The communication is the biggest part. Communicate with their kids, communicate with us. We'll communicate with their kids as well, and as well as the school district. I think communication is the biggest thing.
Perfect. Well, we're out of time. Thank you so much, the both of you, for joining us, and thank you for everything you do to keep our kids safe.
Of course, thank you.
All right, let's have a great school year.